Hello guys, welcome back. I hope you watched the previous video and you have you have some idea about when do we use Terraform and when do we use this SAM. Now let's see. Don't worry, I'll introduce you again. What is SAM? What is SAM full form? Serverless Application Model. Serverless Application Model. Okay. The name itself indicating it is a application model for which type of services? Serverless services. If you want to create cloud, if you want to create cloud infrastructure, if you want to if you want to form the cloud infrastructure, if you want to form cloud infrastructure, then by using, if you want to form cloud infrastructure by using serverless services, if you want cloud infrastructure, if you want to form cloud infrastructure by using serverless services in the form of code templates, in the form of code templates, then what service you use? AWS SAM, right? Yeah. So what do we call this cloud infrastructure formation in cloud? We call this as cloud formation, right? So don't confuse with the word cloud formation. It is nothing but cloud infrastructure formation. So what does infrastructure contains? Your services and resources, AWS resources that you use for creating your architecture, right? Yeah. If you create your architecture by using code, code templates, if you want to create your cloud formation for serverless services by using these code templates, is there any service available for you? Yes. What is service name? SAM. So remember, in certifications, they may confuse you for server-based services also. SAM is used to create. SAM is used to create code templates. In certifications, they may confuse you like this. Then you must need to provide you a valid answer, that is SAM is used for only serverless services. For only serverless services, you can able to create infrastructure, or you can able to create cloud formation in the form of code templates, right? Yeah. Sir, you're telling it as code format, code templates, right? So we want to create code templates for defining my cloud formation for serverless services. Then what are the formats? What are the template formats that I can use to create this template? You can create this template by using JSON format or YAML format. You can either use JSON or YAML to create this template, right? Yes. So compare it to compare it to Terraform, compare it to Terraform code, this SAM code is very less. So that is one of the benefit why you are choosing this SAM compared to Terraform. Terraform code is long compared to SAM code, right? If you want to create an application, then Terraform code is very long compared to SAM code. So that's why you can choose this SAM code whenever you're creating your infrastructure for backend. Whenever you're creating your infrastructure for backend, then you need to choose this SAM. So, sir, you are telling for only serverless services we are able to create, right? Yeah. Sir, can you tell some serverless services? Yeah. For computing, let's see some serverless services. Let's see some serverless services. If you want some service for compute processing, that means if you want to run code, then you can able to choose Lambda. Then you can have Lambda there for you to run your code. If I want to store, if I want to store my application data, if I want to store my application data, is there any serverless service? Yes. What is the serverless service that we use? S3. S3 is the one of the serverless service where you can able to store your application data. Now, I want to create API calls. I want to create API calls. Then what is the serverless service that I can able to choose? You can able to choose API gateway. You have API gateway for users request and response. For managing clients request and response, you have API gateway. So let's say I want to store my user data. So I want a database to store my application user data. Then what is the services we have? We have DynamoDB, and we have RDS and so on. Like this, many serverless services which are provided by AWS, where you can able to use them for your need. Okay. So in order to use these serverless services inside my SAM template, do I need to write the code for them? Yes, I need to write the code for them. And do I need to store the code? Yes, I need to store the code. Yeah. So let us see what are the main components which are present in this SAM. There are mainly two components which are present in this SAM. They are, so in order to write the code, in order to use this SAM, in order to use this AWS SAM, we need to remember these two components most importantly. What are they? They are AWS SAM templates and AWS SAM CLI. AWS SAM templates and AWS SAM templates and AWS SAM CLI. What is the CLI stands for? CLI stands for command line interface, where you can execute this template. What is the SAM template, sir? It's nothing but the template where you write your code. Which format? Either in JSON or YAML format. Can I say this template is a configuration file? Yes. So I can say this template as a configuration file, right? Yeah. It's a configuration file. What does this file define? This file defines me, my serverless infrastructure and resources that I use in AWS. What does this file defines me? This file, this configuration file defining, for defining my application serverless infrastructure. Serverless infrastructure in this AWS SAM templates. What do we call that template? We call it as configuration file. Why do we need that configuration file? To define my application serverless infrastructure and its resources. To define my application serverless infrastructure and its resources. Can I say cloud formation? Yeah. So to define my cloud formation for my serverless services, this is a configuration file. What is the configuration file? AWS SAM templates. Can I say it is a simple syntax compared to other cloud formation templates? Yes. In particular, you can compare it with Terraform. Since we can able to write in less number of lines, we can able to tell it is a simple syntax. So can I say it is one of the advantage to use this SAM? Yes, it is one of the advantages. What is the advantages? What are the advantages? One of the advantages It's a simple code. It's a simple syntax code. Compared to the syntax of other cloud formation templates, it is very simple. And you can write it in either JSON or YAML format, right? Yeah. So it is extended from cloud formation. What does it mean, sir? Which means in addition to simple syntax, especially for serverless services, this takes it easier to define settings and configurations for your serverless application to your raw cloud formation syntax. By using the raw cloud formation syntax, you can able to define settings and configurations of your serverless applications. What you do here, you just need to define settings and configurations for serverless applications by using some raw configuration, raw cloud format syntax, right? Yeah. So can I say it is extended syntax from AWS cloud formation? Yeah. So it is also one of the advantage. It is extended syntax and simple syntax. It is extended syntax from cloud formation, right? Yeah, from cloud formation, where you can able to create your cloud formation code by using this as well. Okay, it's a simple infrastructure coding, right? How many ways we can call it? Those many ways we can able to tell it. It is a simple infrastructure coding as well, because we can able to write our infrastructure in simple coding technique. So we call it even as, since it is having simple syntax and less number of lines, we call it as simplified infrastructure coding, right? Yeah, simplified infrastructure coding. Now, now let us see one more important component under AWS SAM template. What is that important component, sir? The important component which is present under SAM template is, which is present under this configuration file is transform directive. What is that? Transform directive. So I am highlighting this word, transform directive. Now, what is the need of this transform directive, sir? So in order to tell, execute this template, execute the SAM template. In order to tell AWS SAM's interpreter, in order to tell SAM's interpreter, process this template, process this template. We use this transform directive. In order to tell SAM interpreter, process this template, process this template. So then only we get SAM's transformation logic, right? Yeah. So to get the SAM's transformation logic, we need to interpret this template. So to tell SAM's interpreter, please interpret this transform directive. We write this transform directive at the topmost place of your template. So it is very important to write in order to tell your SAM's interpreter to process this template. And whenever cloud formation even encounters this, whenever cloud formation encounters this directive, templates directive. So what happens? So initially, let's see what happens. Whenever your SAM interpreter, whenever your SAM interpreter processed let's say your SAM interpreter processed this template. Then what it will create? What this transform directive indicates? It tells we must and shouldly what we do. We need to it transform directive specifies the template should be processed by using SAM interpretation. So whenever it is processed, whenever template is processed by using SAM interpretation, then what does it create? It creates SAM transformation logic. SAM's transformation logic. SAM's transformation logic will be created from this template. What are the template we write? That must be interpreted by using SAM's interpretation. After that, it will create SAM transformation logic. So we call it as transformation directive. Now what happens is whenever your cloud formation encounters this directive, this transformation directive in SAM template, it triggers what? This SAM transformation logic. Cloud formation triggers the SAM's transformation logic. So cloud formation, this cloud formation triggers the SAM's transformation logic, and after triggering to this logic, what happens? This cloud formation will interpret the SAM specific resources properties into the template. So whenever it triggers this, then it can interpret all the SAM specific resources in the template. That is nothing but including the SAM configuration in the template. In the cloud formation template, it is including whatever the logic that we created, nothing but whatever the architecture that we created under SAM template, it will be included under this cloud formation template. Includes, what does it includes? SAM includes, we can even say it as interprets. It interprets what? SAM's specific resources. SAM's specific resources. SAM specific resources and properties that we written in the code into the template. So in the cloud formation template, it will include the SAM specific resources and properties, nothing but what are the code that you have written for creating your resources. All the resources will be included in the cloud formation. When it is included, whenever your cloud formation template encounters this directive, whenever cloud formation template, whenever your cloud formation encounters this directive, so I'm writing the important points here. You must need to remember these. So whenever your cloud formation encounters this directive, then what does this cloud formation will do? It just triggers your SAM transformation logic and interprets SAM specific resources and properties in your template. So how do you get this SAM transformation logic? So this will be get by using SAM's interpretation of your template. When your template is interpreted, when you include your transform directive, then only it will be interpreted. Whenever you include your directive, then only this cloud formation also encounters that directive and able to include SAM specific resources in that cloud formation template. So can I say this is very important? Yes. So in order to reflect your architecture in cloud formation, do I need to write this transform directive? Yes. we must need to write this transform directive, right? Yeah. So while writing code, while writing my template code, either in by using YAML or JSON. Now let's say a same, now let's say I'm creating same resource. I'm creating any resource which is repeating with same configurations, which is repeating many times with same configurations. Then does it increase my lines of code? Yes. Same code repeating multiple times will lead to a lot of big file, right? Yeah. So to avoid that repetition of same code, to avoid repetition of any resource with same configurations multiple times, we include a section in this, we use a section in this template. What is the section? That section is global section. What is that section? Global section. So we include a section, that section is global section. In the templates, we also need to include this global section. Why? In order to avoid repetition, right? Yeah. So to declare once, we use this global section. So we don't need to declare multiple times the same configurations, the same, for a same resource, we don't need to define multiple times the same configuration. We just need to define it only once by using this global section. Then using this global section to declare once. Why? To avoid repetition, right? Yeah. For example, Lambda function sharing common configurations such as runtime or memory or whatever the resource sharing, cross-origin resource sharing. Those you can declare only once in this global section. This global section approach allows your resources to inherit these configurations automatically. To inherit these configurations automatically. So this is also one of the advantage, that is automatic inheritance. Automatic inheritance. So in order to reduce code complexity and decrease the number of lines that we need to use to write the code, we use this global section, right? Yeah. Then can I say my design looks like, can I say my design is very understanding? Yeah. So in order to understand my architecture and design my architecture, is this SAM is very useful to me? Yes. So this is the purpose of SAM, to design and understand very reliable architecture. You use this SAM, right? Yeah. So to create streamlining template, that is streamlining template with consistency across your regions, then you use this SAM, right? Yeah. So in order to define this template, in order to create this template, do I need to know serverless resources? Yes. So how can we write the serverless resources? We need to know, yes. In order to create this template, we also need to know what are the serverless resources where we can able to write the code in it. So let's see some of mostly used important AWS SAM serverless resources. All resources are important only, but most commonly used resources I'll provide in this example. Let's say I have an S3 bucket, and whenever I put an object, or let's say any event occurred in that S3 bucket. Now I want to trigger some Lambda function and I want to do something. So in order to do this, do I need to create Lambda function? Yeah. So I need to create a Lambda function. So to access S3, this Lambda function require permissions, right? So how can I able to provide? By using IAM roles. So I want to provide IAM role as well. So in order to trigger, in order to trigger this function, do I need event source mapping? Yes. So I also need event source. I also need event source mapping, right? So I also need event source. I also need event source mapping. I also need event source mapping that triggers this function, that triggers this lambda function. So I also need event source mapping. Now I want, so to do all these things, to create lambda function, to create IAM role for this lambda function, and create event source mapping for this lambda function, I need a full package in a single box. Like that, I want to know, is there any serverless resource present? Yes. To write in this template, yes, there is a serverless source there. What is the source name? AWS colon serverless function. What is that? Serverless function. So if you see, if you compare any serverless resource defining in the template will look like this only. AWS serverless and two hyphens must be present in between AWS and serverless, and in between whatever the resource that you are using, that and serverless also, in between them there is some two hyphens. So like this only, AWS serverless. For lambda function you define in the way that as function. So let's say I want to create API resources API gateway for resources and methods, right? So for that, how it will be, we just put API at the end. Let's say I have a website, and where that website is hosted on top of multiple microservices. Microservice is nothing but creating your one by one website in different serverless architectures, serverless services. So now my user want to access my website and get the response. My user want to request my website and get the response. Now, what is the service which acts as a gateway between them? API, right? So in order to provide access to all my websites, is one gateway sufficient to me? No. So what I require? I require collection of gateways, right? Collection of gateways. So in order to provide access to all my website, I need to provide collection of gateways. What do we call these gateways in AWS? API gateways. So in order to provide API gateway resources, and do I require separate methods to them to specify these resources? Do I need separate methods to them? Yes, I need separate methods to separate these API gateways based on the request. So how user will be requested this? By using HTTP endpoint only, right? By using HTTP endpoint, whenever he hits the request, whenever user hit the request, then my request goes to where? Any one of the respective website based on methods and API gateway response. So it will provide you the response. Now, in order to create these things, API gateway and methods for these HTTP endpoints, what is the service that I have? How can I able to create? I have API gateway. Now, how can I able to create both these combinations? By using serverless services. Same thing, AWS serverless API. That's it. So this will create you the whole thing that you require for this gateway. For creating both these things, this is sufficient. So this is the thing we used in template. Actually, REST APIs will provide me some latency and causes some cost. So in order to provide low latency response and low cost for using the resources, for creating these REST APIs, we use the same API gateway only, but we use HTTP API gateway. That is, we create HTTP API gateway. So how to create that gateway? How to create that HTTP API gateway? We create that same like this only, but AWS : serverless : the only change is here HTTP and API. That's it. HTTP and API. So in this way, you can create this Amazon API gateway HTTP APIs, which enables you to create RESTful APIs with less latency compared to RESTful APIs and low cost compared to the RESTful APIs. So now let's say I want to store my user data. So I want to store my user data. And I want to access it by using a primary key attribute only. So to store my user data, I want to use most common database, that is a DynamoDB. I want to use DynamoDB and I want to access my data by single attribute. That attribute is primary key. So I want to access my user data by using single attribute primary key in this DynamoDB, then only you can use this serverless service, that is AWS : serverless : simple table. What is that? Simple table. So when do you use this? If you want to access user data from DynamoDB using a single attribute primary key, then you can able to use this AWS serverless simple table, right? Yeah. I have a serverless storage. Either it may be serverless application repository or S3 bucket, you can take it. So I have S3 bucket, that is serverless application storage. Now I want to embed that serverless application which is present in my S3 bucket as nested application. Then what is the service that we use? Then what is the command that we use? We use AWS : serverless application. What is that? AWS serverless application. So when do we use it? We use it when, in order to embed resources embeds a serverless application from a serverless application from S3 bucket as nested application. So in this case, you use this server application. So even this S3 is also a serverless application, then you can able to use this. Now let's say I have a function that creates me a step function state machine. So to manage my Lambda function and other resources, so in previous I have created Lambda function, right? So I want to manage the Lambda function and other resources at a time with robust workloads, and to form a complex architecture, I want to manage Lambda and other services for robust application. So I want to manage Lambda and other applications by using state function, by using state function, state machine, by using state machine. So by using state machine, I want to manage my Lambda and other servers and other services. Then what is the command that I use to create this state machine? To create this state machine, you use AWS serverless state machine. What's that? AWS serverless state machine, right? Yeah. So you can able to use this serverless state machine to create the state machine. Now let's say I want to create a function. Now I want to integrate GraphQL to my AWS based serverless architecture. I want to integrate GraphQL to my serverless architecture. So is there any function? Yes. What is the function? AWS serverless GraphQL API. What is that? GraphQL API. Where if I write this function, then it creates and configures an AppSync GraphQL API for your serverless application, and it manages aspects like schema, authorization, and data sources which are present in your SAM template, right? Yeah. So for this, you can able to create the function like this: GraphQL API. Let's say I want to generate specific policy. I want to generate specific policy, specific IAM policy. I want to generate specific IAM policy. Let's say I have a need. I have a need to connect some compute service, some database service. Let's say Lambda and DynamoDB I want to connect. So in order to access the data which is present in DynamoDB, Lambda function require the permission, right? So for that, I want to generate an IAM policy. So how to generate this, sir? How can you able to provide interactions between them? Is there any function? Yes. The function is there. The name is AWS serverless connector. What? Connector. So this connector is used to provide a interaction between your resources like DynamoDB and Lambda tables, Lambda functions, DynamoDB tables and Lambda functions. By generating specific IAM policy, we need this serverless connector. This function provides you permission between your resources, right? Yes. So this is up to now we have seen about first component, that is AWS SAM templates. Now let us see about second component, that is AWS SAM CLI. So why do we need to use this SAM CLI? After developing, in order to develop and test your SAM applications, that is serverless applications. For serverless applications, development and testing, it is essential tool. What is the tool? AWS SAM CLI is an essential tool for you. For what? To develop and test. To develop and test. Can we say for developing, for local development, and testing, this AWS SAM CLI is must. Okay. What does it offers me, sir? What does this SAM CLI offers me? It offers you a comprehensive set of commands. It offers you a set of commands where you can able to use those in all over the development life cycle. This AWS SAM CLI provides you comprehensive comprehensive commands. This SAM CLI provides you comprehensive commands, where by using those commands, you can able to use them while all over the development life cycle of your SAM template. These commands are useful for seamless development, seamless deployment of your template. This include everything that is from developing of your applications to deployment of your application in cloud. These AWS CLI help you seamless deployment. So this is essential for you. And to process building, testing, and deployment of your serverless applications. So in order to process and test and deploy your serverless application, this SAM CLI will helpful to you because it provides you useful commands, right? So by using that, you can able to test, debug, and deploy your application seamlessly. You can able to develop and deploy your application seamlessly. Streamlined deployment process. It provides you streamlined deployment process as well. And this AWS CLI also provides you template verification. What is this template verification, sir? This template verification means you can able to verify your SAM template files by using the commands. You can able to verify and ensure your SAM template is correctly written according to the given specifications. That even you can able to verify by using this SAM CLI. And you can even use this for local Lambda execution. This SAM CLI provides you Lambda-like execution environment locally. So you can invoke your Lambda functions and move on for debugging as well. So we call this AWS CLI as Lambda, local Lambda execution as well. Even we can even call this as comprehensive tool. What is that? Comprehensive tool. Why do we call it as comprehensive tool? Because we can able to execute several comprehensive commands, right, in it. So we can call it as comprehensive tool, where in this, by using this AWS SAM CLI in AWS, by using this AWS SAM CLI, you can able to build and run your serverless applications. So we can say it as comprehensive tool for your applications running, right? So in order to do this, in order to perform this, sir, can you make these in less lines? So this, what is the streamlined development process? It's nothing but building, testing, and deploying your serverless applications. So can I say this local development and testing will comes under this? Yes. So this all comes under this local development and testing will comes under streamlined development process. And coming to comprehensive command, can we say they comes under comprehensive tools? Yeah. So by using the comprehensive tools, you can able to by using the comprehensive commands, you can able to provide comprehensive commands and you can able to execute them, and you can able to use the CLI as comprehensive tool as well for seamless development. That is nothing but it also comes under streamlined deployment only, right? Yeah. Okay, coming to template verification, you verifying that separately, and It acts as a local lambda. It provides you lambda like execution in your local environment. So in order to invoke lambda functions and move on through debugging, we call it as lambda execution. So this CLI provides you these four things, right? Yeah. So what are the, let's see. So in order to verify, do we need to know the commands? Yeah. In order to deploy, do we need to know the commands? Yeah. In order to use this as comprehensive tool or lambda execution, do we need to know what are the different commonly used commands in CLI? Yes. So in CLI, what are the commonly used commands that also we need to know, right? So let us see some most commonly used or important SAM CLI command. Let's say I want to generate a pre-configured AWS SAM template. I want to generate a pre-configured AWS SAM template and example application code based on user input. Then what is the CLI command that I want to use? SAM init. SAM init. So whenever you want to create a pre-configured template, whenever you want to create a pre-configured SAM template with some example application code based on the user input on specifying what is the common language that you want to use to generate your code, then you use this SAM init. So after creating my pre-configured template, now I have changed all the code in it and I configured for my application. Now what I want to do? I want to deploy that SAM template, right? Yeah. So in order to deploy your SAM template, so you need to use the CLI command, that is SAM build. What is the command that you use to deploy your template? That is SAM build. So in order to prepare your application for deployment, for deployment, so what is the command that you need to use in AWS SAM CLI? You need to use SAM build. So by using this, what happens is SAM CLI creates a directory. What directory? SAM directory. It creates a directory for you and organizes all your application dependencies and files for your deployment. So whenever you write this SAM build, then it prepares for your application deployment. That means this creates a directory for you and organize all your application dependencies as well as files that required for deployment for you. Sir, you told for deploying my application, whatever the required application dependencies and files will be organized in a directory by using SAM build command. Then what is the command that I use to deploy my application in guided way? You can use SAM deploy guided SAM deploy guided. This guided flag will indicate CLI, please provide some guidelines while configuring your application. Whenever you type this command and click on enter, then your application deploys in interactive flow. CLI guides you through configuring your application deployment settings, like transforming your template to cloud formation. Where you deploy in cloud formation template only, right? Finally, so you want to move your template to cloud formation template and you want to you want to include your architecture in cloud formation as well. That will be deployed by using this command based on guided interactive flow, right? Yeah. So by using what command you can able to deploy SAM deploy guided. Remember this command. So in order to deploy your application in guided way and transform your template to cloud formation, to deploy your application in cloud formation and to create resources in your cloud. Let's say I want to develop a CI/CD pipeline for my application. Now, is there any command for this? Yes. SAM pipeline init bootstrap. Whenever you use this bootstrap flag, then it will ask you for configuring CI/CD pipeline for your application. Even CLI guides you through the options and generates resources and configuration files to use in your CI/CD pipelining. Now, let's say with next thing. I have deployed my application and it is pipeline and it is running well. Now, I want to fetch or filter logs. So in order to see whether how it is working, so I want to see the logs. I want to fetch and filter logs generated by any one of the resources, let's say lambda function. I want to fetch and filter logs generated by lambda function. Then is there any command? Yes. SAM logs. What is the command? SAM logs. By using this SAM logs, you can able to fetch and filter your logs which are generated by AWS lambda function. After fetching this, you can able to debug and directly you can able to troubleshoot the issue which is coming in your application. Let's say I have an issue where I got in my application. Now, do I need to check that issue in AWS itself, or can I able to check that serverless application, or else can I able to test that serverless application locally in my own machine? So I can able to test that serverless application locally in my own machine by using the command called SAM local. By using the command SAM local, you can even able to debug serverless application locally on your own machine. So there you can able to get the feedback and able to modify the code based on your requirement. So let's say if you need minute changes and you uploaded your code, and every time do you need to deploying and monitoring logs. So like that, if you do, then it will charge you a lot. So instead of that, by using this SAM local, you can able to test and debug your serverless applications locally on your own machines, right? Yeah. So in order to invoke your serverless applications locally, you need to use the command that is SAM local invoke. In order to invoke your serverless applications locally, you need to use this SAM local invoke. So this asks you to create a local container for you and build you function that invokes it and provides you output as a result. So if you want to invoke your serverless applications locally and create a container and build your functions and see the results, then you need to use this SAM CLI command. What? SAM local invoke. These are the most important commands that we use in AWS SAM CLI. Now, I hope you understood what are the two important components in SAM, that is SAM templates and SAM template functions, and even you understood SAM CLI and SAM CLI commands. Now, let's see some advantages or benefits. Some more advantages or benefits and then wind up this session about SAM. Now, it is simple syntax, right? Can I say this SAM is very simple compared to cloud formation templates which are formed by Terraform? Yeah, of course. So it's a simplified. Okay. So can I say this syntax is extended from cloud formation? Yes. So that's why we call it as extended syntax. So can even I say it as a shortened syntax? Yeah. So even we can able to say this as a shortened syntax, right? Yeah. So using this, you can able to reduce even 200 lines of code in cloud template roughly to 23 lines in SAM template, right? So isn't it efficient? Yeah, it is an efficient. So let's say I want to run my development environment in I want to run my SAM templates in either PyCharm or Visual Studio Code. Is it possible for integration and development tools? Yes. The answer for is yes. So it is possible for integration. It is possible for integration and integration with development tools. It is possible for integration with development tools such as PyCharm you can use for integration, and you can use Visual Studio Code for integration and run it on your local machine. Let's say I don't want to run it on my local machine. I want to run and troubleshoot in cloud itself. Then what are the AWS services that we use, sir? So this is important point. I'm explaining you about what are the important service that you use in AWS where you can able to run this directly on AWS. So the services that you use, so first thing you need to develop the template, right? So for that you need an interface, right? You can create that interface by using Cloud9. By using the Cloud9 you can get some instance in interface where you can able to see that. Now what is the service that I can able to build and to build my SAM template? You can have AWS cloud build. What is that? Cloud build. There is a service named cloud build. Those who are developers, then this name is familiar to them. If not, it is very important to know about this name. These names, that is Cloud9 for your environment, and cloud build to build your templates or code. And in order to deploy, you have code deploy. In AWS you have an option called, you have a service called code deploy. For pipelining you have code pipeline. So these are the things, these are the services that you use in AWS. These are the services that are important for even developers or DevOps engineers in order to pipeline or build or create an environment for. So in order to have some environment for creating templates, you need Cloud9. And in order to build your template, you use Cloud Build. And in order to deploy, you use Cloud Deploy. In order to create pipeline, you create by using Code Pipeline. So these are services that you use in AWS to manage your SAM. So I hope you understood this all about SAM. You can able to do this local debugging and testing, and it is the extension of your cloud formation. It allows you single deployment configurations as well. That is unified deployment, version deployment, unit, and shared configurations as well. So let's say you created DynamoDB table by using cloud formation. Now, can I create any serverless function? Can I able to create any serverless compute environment for this cloud formation DynamoDB table? Yes, you can able to create Lambda function by using this SAM. Since they are integratable, you can able to create them and able to integrate them after running on CLI. So I hope you understood all about SAM. You got a good knowledge with SAM. So I hope this video is contentful to you. So if this video is contentful to you, then please like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates. See you back in the next video. Until then, bye bye. Thanks for watching again.